So today's video is part 2 of how to balance school with football. Now, I know a lot of you watching this vid are, young players trying to make it, and obviously you're trying to make it in football, but obviously school plays a big part in your life. And what I mean by this is that it takes up so much time. You have to go to school 5 days a week normally, and normally your school hours can vary anywhere between 6 to 8 hours. Plus, the travel to school. You might have to travel an hour to school, travel an hour back. So today this is part 2 of how to balance school with football, how to improve your game as a footballer, how to maximize your potential, to make it to the highest level you can possibly get without disregarding your schoolwork, without without letting your grades just slip so low to the point where you don't have any backup plan, like you don't have any thing to fall back on just in case football doesn't work out. You don't really have, because you still want, at the end of the day, you want to become a footballer, you want to go for it. Yeah, but you still need to have some sort of education, so it's sort of easier for you to go into certain fields just in case football doesn't work out for you. So the first point is literally just minimizing dead time. Now, what do I mean by dead time? Dead time is usually just those moments where you're scrolling on TikTok for 20 minutes, or you might be on the bus or on the train to school, or you might have periods between, like for me, for example, I'm in university. There might be periods where I have one class and then I have to wait half an hour to go to my next class. That half an hour is what I would consider dead time. It's time where you're sort of just, laboring around. You're not really doing much. Like I said, this could be times where you're just sort of scrolling on YouTube. Maybe you're waiting for a certain event to happen. Maybe you're waiting to go to training. Maybe you're waiting for the bus or the train. The train's coming in like 20 minutes. And you obviously you can't leave your house now. You need to wait for you need to wait another 10 minutes to get on the bus, get on the train, whatever that is. That's what I mean by dead time. And what I mean, you have to minimize dead time, is that try getting as much work as you can in that dead time. Now, I know it seems that the 10 minutes, the 20 minutes, even the 30 minutes might not really do anything, but trust me, it actually does something. It actually helps you a lot, because I remember when I was back in college, so college from like 16 to 18, I used to go over my, if I had exams or mock tests, I used to go and literally just do take notes on the train. Literally not actually writing notes, but literally just reading them and just going over my notes on the train. On the train, it must have taken like half an hour. Just use that half an hour to literally just go over my notes, just consistently, just every single day, just going over my notes. And obviously, once you do that, it's gonna help. It's gonna help it stick here. I did this also with my theory, my driving test, the theory test that you have to take, the actual real ones that you do on the computers. I actually did that with that. I was on my phone, just answering questions, and then also doing the, what's the other one? What's the other one called, where you have to sort of the hazard perception test. That's the one where you have to sort of like, you're driving. It's sort of like you're simulating driving a car. Then you have to sort of like press when you see a danger. I was doing all of that on the train, and ultimately I passed, because I remember the first time I did that, my driving theory test, I failed because I didn't take it seriously. I didn't actually put in the work. But once I started minimizing my dead time, taking those times on the train, because obviously for me the train was like half an hour there, half an hour back. So that combined hour in a day of me just focusing on just doing my driving theory test, just doing the theory test, the hazard perception test. Obviously, it led me to all the answers, they stuck in there, and it led me to actually passing my driving test. So, in my opinion, just minimize that dead time as soon as possible. Try catch yourself, because I know it can be very hard when you're scrolling on, let's say, YouTube. When you're watching YouTube videos, maybe you're scrolling on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Insta. It's very hard to sort of like catch yourself. You can sort of just say, all right, cool, I'm gonna do it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. But then ultimately you look at the time on your phone, and it's been an hour, it's been 2 hours. So I think like the trick is you have to try catch yourself, because it's almost like when you're using social media, it's almost like you're under this spell. You're just gazing at your phone. You're just under a spell where it's like it feels like it's only been 20 minutes, but really it's been an hour. Like, it's weird. I know we all know that feeling. So in my opinion, the trick is to catch yourself. If you catch yourself in dead time where you're just laboring about, you're not really doing much, yo, just whip out your notes, go over a few things, you know what I'm saying? Or if you have to do something regarding your phone, literally just get out your phone, just do what you need to do to, you know, um to go over your notes, just help with your schoolwork basically. I feel like a lot of people I think there's a lot of misconception in school, where it's like, when you're actually studying, it has to be this whole big event where you sit down, you get everything ready, you prepare everything, and you're just gonna sit down there for 6 hours and you're just gonna work. You're just gonna grind all day. A lot of my friends do this as well. They all pick a day to go to the library, and they will just sit down and they just sort of they say to themselves, all right, cool, we're just gonna go to the library for 5 hours. We're just gonna have this big study session, and we're just gonna, what I'm saying, we're gonna have this big study session, and we're just gonna grind. We're just gonna work. But in my opinion, when you go to them sort of study sessions, or even if it's an individual session, to be honest, I don't think anyone can really have that level of focus for like 5 hours, for 3 hours, because even in those study sessions, you catch yourself, 20 minutes on the phone here, half an hour on the phone here, 10 minutes just staring into space, because it's hard. Ultimately, it's hard. In my opinion, you can only really focus. From what I've learned from myself, I can only really focus for about maybe an hour and a half of just deep focused work where I'm really just locked in, where I'm really just like, yo, cool. I'm sitting down for an hour and a half, and then this is I'm using all my brain power here. So that's me personally. Maybe I can do an hour and a half, maybe let's say an hour and a half in the morning, and then later in the day I'll do another hour and a half. So 2 blocks of 90 minutes a day. That's what I've learned. That's what I've learned works for me. I feel like once I start going over 2 hours in one session, 3 hours, I'm bored. I'm just done with it. Like, I can't really do that. Even with like writing my essays and stuff like that, I'll do I'll do an hour and a half, and then cool, rest an hour and a half, and then I'm done for the day. So certain guys will leave it to the last minute, and they'll do a whole day where it's like they literally have one day to complete it, and they're just like, yo, JT, I'm literally just gonna spend 6 hours just doing this the whole day. And I'm thinking, bro, I could never do that. Like, maybe you're a person who can do that, but me personally, and for a lot of people I know, you just can't do that in it. So you just have to, obviously, to do this, you have to make sure that obviously you're on time with your assignments and all of that. Make sure that you start early. Don't leave it to the last minute. But when it comes to minimizing the dead time, if I'm only doing 90 minutes of solid focused work, that dead time really helps me. What I'm saying, I need to catch. Sometimes I catch myself. Sometimes I'm thinking, oh, cool, I'm being lazy here, I'm procrastinating. Let me use this 20 minutes to go over notes, write something down, maybe answer an exam question, something, just something like that. Obviously, like I said, it doesn't feel like it's going to help, but once it starts compounding, the days, maybe have an exam in like a month's time. Once the days start going where it's like, all right, cool, there's 25 days to go, there's 20 days before the exam, 15 days to go, 10 days to go. Once you get to 10 days, you're thinking, all right, cool, I feel kind of ready now, because you've minimized the dead time. You've used that dead time to be like, yo, all right, cool, let me do half an hour here, 20 minutes here. And normally it just compounds. And then on the day of on the day of your test, or on the day where you have to submit your assignments, or whatever it is you need to do, you feel ready. You feel ready, and ultimately, yo, you pass the test, and you get the grade that you want to get. So my second point is literally deliberate practice. Now, what I mean by this is that, yo, in my opinion, if you have like a written exam coming up where you have to go into the example and actually, write the questions down. Maybe you have like 8 markers, 12 markers, a 20 marker, 25 mark questions. Just that sort of exam. In my opinion, you should just be. In my opinion, don't waste your time on like going over notes, highlighting the textbooks, highlighting the notes. In my opinion, people who do that, in my opinion, are simply just wasting their time. I know it feels fun. It feels productive. It feels like, oh, look at me. I'm highlighting my notes. I'm really, they're really sinking into my brain. I'm really doing something. But in my opinion, for me, that is just, that's wasting time. That itself is dead time. You're not really doing anything. In my opinion, if you have an exam like that, yo, practice the actual questions. Get past papers. Get papers that were printed in like 2018, 2019, still for the same exam board, the same subject that you're doing, whatever it is. As you just do them questions, because once you do that, you actually get a feel of, okay, what do the examiners actually want me to write? What style of writing do they actually want me to write? How do I actually write this 8 marker, this 12 marker, this 20 marker? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't just, because obviously like I said, if you're just highlighting notes, if you just have the textbook in front of you and you're just reading, you're just going over and reading the notes, then obviously you're gonna have, obviously some information is gonna stick. I get that, but you're not actually gonna know what to do in the actual test. If you understand that, you're not actually gonna know how to actually write, and the writing bit is the most important bit. You're not gonna know, how to time yourself. That's something that I struggled with in when I was doing my A levels in college. It was the actual timing. But once I actually started, practicing my time, I just got much better at it, and I got, my answers, my writing pace got much better, because before I was just, reading the notes and just highlighting stuff. But as soon as I started doing, past papers and actually started, practicing and seeing what these examiners actually want, I got much better. And my whole class, I remember we were in business, and I remember before, none of us would ever practice the actual exam questions, and we would all get bad grades. But we got a new teacher, and as soon as we started actually doing the actual past papers, actually knowing what the examiners want from us, trust me, all of our grades went up about 2 levels. I swear down. Like, I remember the first ever time I did one of our mock exams, I got a grade D. Then very next one, after I started, actually practicing them past papers, I got a B. It's just simple things like that. And everyone else in my class, once they started doing that, everyone jumped like 2 grade levels. People who were getting D's were getting B's. People getting C's got A's. People who were getting U's got C's. Like, it's like that. So in my opinion, that's another way. I know it might feel tiring. You might look at the exam and you think, oh, I don't really want to do this. But trust me, you don't even have to do it all. You can do one question, two. You can do 2 questions, 3 questions out of the lot. You don't have to, do every single thing. But trust me, in my opinion, this is the best way to do it. This is like your 80-20% rule. You know what I'm saying? 80%, this is the 20% that gets you 80% of the results. This is the main thing that you should be focusing on. The highlighting thing, doing it in different colors, color coding your work. Obviously, that's all nice. It feels nice to do. I get it. And obviously it feels easy as well. But trust me, practicing the exam questions, it might feel hard, it might feel tiring, but trust me, this is what gets the results. So like I said, you don't have to do all of it in one go. You can do half one day, and then the next day you do another half. But trust me, that's the best way, in my opinion, how I felt from my school experience. From my school experience, this is the best way to, get your grades up. And it's also very time efficient as well. You don't sit there for 5-6 hours, highlighting, doing all of this. It's just like, I'm gonna sit here for an hour and just practice exam questions. Sit here for 90 minutes, do exam questions, and just constantly get better. And obviously, get the mark scheme, look at the answers, and just be like, all right, cool, where did I go wrong? And then literally next time you can just easy, you can just change it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you're actually gonna do a driving test, you need to actually get in the car. You can't just watch videos of, people driving a car. You can't watch people saying that, oh, okay, so you can't watch a video of a guy in the car saying, okay, cool, this is the clutch, this is the accelerator, this is the brake. It's like, no, you actually have to be at the wheel driving the car. It's just like the exam. You actually have to practice, writing the actual exam, instead of just, looking at the notes, looking at the answers, color coding, highlighting stuff. You actually have to be, doing what you're actually going to be doing in the exam, which is writing ultimately. So that's that's the second point. Obviously, it's different for, assignments that you're doing in university. Maybe you're using a laptop, but even then, it might the same principle still applies. So that's the second point. And then the last point is literally just to be proactive. Now, what I mean by being proactive is that, look ahead of your school schedule. See what days might clash with training sessions, might clash with matches. Because I'm pretty sure we've all been in a situation where we've had so many, where a day comes and then we realize, all right, cool, I've got this to do on this day, then I also have this to do, then I also have this to do. I don't want you to be in that situation where you're stressed out of your mind. You're thinking, okay, how am I going to do these all in the same day? Or how am I going to do all of these in the space of 3 days? So in my opinion, you need to be proactive. Look at your schedule, whether that's your look at your football team schedule, and look at your school schedule as well. See where there may be clashes, and then give yourself time to, adapt accordingly. See if you can, change things around, or just plan ways how you're gonna make both that training session and you're gonna make the exam, or you're gonna be able to go to that football tournament while also submitting your assignment on the needing to submit your assignment on the same day. Just little things like that. So in my opinion, that's the third point. Literally just be proactive. Look at both your football schedule and your school schedule. See if there's any clashes. and then just adapt accordingly. Come up with plans of how you're gonna, how you're gonna work around it. Because I don't want it to be to get to, a day before or 2 days before, and then you realize you have to do you have to do 3 exams and 2 assignments, but on 3 exams and 2 assignments in the space of 5 days. But in those 5 days, you have to play 2 football matches and you've got an extra training session as well. I don't want that to happen because then you're just going to be stressed out of your mind, stressed out of your bollocks, and it's just bad. You don't want to be in that situation. So yeah, that's the last point. At least you just be proactive. So that's all I've got to say for this vid. I hope you enjoyed. I've been JT and I'm out.